With Windows 11 rolling out to PCs today, users are receiving the opportunity to upgrade to the most recent version of Microsoft's operating system. Some PC users, however, refuse to move on, a tale as old as time, which is why, according to a study back in 2017, the third most popular OS was Windows XP, which back in October of this year just had its 20th anniversary. Today, we celebrate the operating system's birthday and look back on the reasons why Windows XP will forever remain a classic. Before even taking on the name of Windows XP, the operating system was split into two projects developed by different teams simultaneously in the late 90s. These projects were the planned successor to Windows 2000, codenamed Odyssey, and the next iteration to Windows 98, codenamed Neptune. These two different projects had two different customers in mind, with Odyssey being developed for businesses and Neptune being developed for the home consumer. But Microsoft would place Neptune on the back burner as it released Windows Millennium, ME for short. ME was, however, met with dismal reviews upon release, with some even dubbing it Windows Mistake Edition. Some even opted to buy Windows 2000, the OS meant for businesses. With customers so distraught with the consumer lineup of operating systems, it was clear that the gap between business consumers and home consumers must be bridged. Thus, at the turn of the millennium in the year 2000, Microsoft announced the merge of the Odyssey and Neptune projects into a single project codenamed Whistler. And 1 year later, on October 25th of 2001, Whistler was released under the official name Windows XP. The launch was quiet as media was mostly focused on the September 11th attacks the month prior. Combined with low fanfare, Windows XP had to compete with both of its previous operating systems. XP was selling a lot slower than Windows 98 had 3 years earlier, and for Windows 2000 users, the update was a harder sell as the changes between 2000 and XP were minimal. Even with the more substantial upgrades between 98 and XP, users were still hesitant as the hardware requirements for the new version were much steeper than what their 98 running computers were capable of. Reviews took note of this as well as the major aesthetic change from the previous versions to this new one. Many believe the new visuals XP brought made the computer look too adolescent, even likening it to that of a Fisher-Price toy. The advertising and reviews for XP weren't doing it any favors at the time around its release. But as it turned out, time would be the best advertiser for the operating system. Even after its dismal launch, Windows XP was able to grow into a success. Rather than growing into its shoes, technology grew into Windows XP as computers became faster and were able to not only accommodate the upgrade's hardware demands, but blow right past them. Computers were able to support all of XP's quirks, and with that were able to squeeze the most performance out of it. Rather than being the OS that could only fit into heavyweight machines like it was at launch, XP became the default choice of operating software on computers. Consumers were finally able to enjoy what the upgrade had to offer. Better security, improved stability, user account switching, faster startup, and as the love child of the business and home editions that used to be Windows 2000 and 98, XP symbolized a new standard for future Windows operating systems that could be enjoyed by both the professional and the casual consumer. With a focus on long-time reliability, Microsoft had prepared to keep XP as a mainstay for years to come. They planned 3 major updates called service packs for the OS to release throughout a handful of years. Basically free DLC for XP that would bring new features and fix many bugs. The release of the service packs spanned across almost a decade, with the first one releasing a year after initial launch and the last one almost 7 years after. With each update keeping XP in relevance, the operating system was able to stay on its toes as well as find new homes, as numbers claimed that by 2006, 400 million copies of XP were being used worldwide. XP was a mainstay and a dominator of the operating system market share, and this was ultimately benefited by the lack of a successor for more than half a decade. Microsoft's project titled Longhorn was the supposed descendant of XP, but it hit delay after delay until it was released as Windows Vista in 2006 to an even more dismal release. In fact, throughout Vista's entire lifespan, it never broke or even dented XP's market share. And with Service Pack 3 releasing in 2008, 2 years after Vista's release, there was no reason to count out XP as the most viable operating system. Microsoft cut off support for XP in April of 2014, and while Windows 7 was a solid and necessary upgrade, there was no promise that every XP user was running through with the OS. But with a 13-year official running time, with some most likely using it beyond that, Windows XP set impressive achievements and had accomplished a great feat. Should every operating system aim for a decade-and-a-half long running time? No. Technology is evolving faster than ever, and so are exploits for it, making complete revamps more necessary than simple updates. But Windows XP was a unique phenomenon. Along with its revolutionary change of consolidating features for business and consumer purposes, XP displayed incredible reliability, outshining its direct successor and still making it hard for some to switch to its second-generation successor. Windows XP has left an impact in the history of software technology that no operating system has replicated. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.